Howdy ho, you handsome hunk. Grab a snack and gain some chunk. If your day is great or really sunk, we hope to help you shake the funk. So if you're good to hear some junk, buckle up, it's the Junk Monk Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Junk Monk Podcast. I'm your host Kandyce Sloan, who you know from Instagram at Hardens and Hardhats.
And I'm Noah, co-host you know from Right Now.
If this is your first time listening, let us fill you in. We are watching and reviewing every episode of the USA hit TV show Monk right here each week.
And we're going to do so while eating a little bit of junk. So Kandyce, I have my junk food here, which is actually a tortilla that I previously dropped on the floor right before creating this podcast.
That was pretty funny. And then I have just a little bit left over because I know how good it is, but I saved it for the pod, and I saved a piece for you so that you could try it during junk time. But it is Aunt Leslie's Nut Crunch. Another Gilbert pecan, and I'm excited for you to try it.
Oh.
Also, you must know I've seen every episode of Monk. I'm a huge fan, started watching in 2007, and for the most part, watched it as it aired.
I've seen season 1 and those we did on the show, and a few scattered here and there in different seasons.
So, if you're ready to start the show, Toby, take it away.
Here's what happened.
All right, this is Mr. Monk and the Three Julies, Season 6, Episode 13. So here's what happened. In the opening scene, we see the gang meeting up for a case where the captain is showing off his new vehicle. As the police all enter the building, they leave Natalie their walkie-talkie and the keys to the new car. Over the radio, we hear a call from another scene down the road where the victim's name is shockingly Julie Teeger. Terrified, Natalie takes the car very speedily to the aid of her daughter to find out that thankfully it's not her. But minutes later, another call comes through for yet another victim named Julie Tieger. Thankfully, once again, not the Julie Tieger. Now it's all hands on deck to find the mysterious Julie killer. Their first lead sets the focus on a deeply disturbed man obsessed with his dead mother, who has the same name. But ultimately, Monk finds a clue that connects the two murdered Julies. The first Julie's husband had a mistress who mailed an incriminating package to his home that was accidentally mailed to a second Julie Tieger. When the second Julie delivered the package by hand to the first Julie, her husband angrily killed her, then tracked down Julie number 2 as she had witnessed the fight and could wreck his story. The clue was a piece of the open package which was found in both homes. The killer husband is arrested and our Julie Tieger is home free.
Yay!
All right, that was Mr. Monk and the Three Julies.
All right, Kandyce, what did you like about this episode?
Okay, I feel like I liked a lot about this episode, honestly. First,
really? Same.
Of course, Stottlemeyer's baby, a.k.a. his new car.
Oh, yes.
Midnight Onyx. Mm-hmm. Wait, is it? It's black. No, it's Midnight Onyx. I love it. I love it. And I put Mini Monk. He becomes obsessed. He's like, and Monk's like, no, you dig it. So
I put Stotty Mobile, and then I put, Natalie Mobile, because she steals the car.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so good. Stotty Mobile. Oh my gosh, that would be a good out of 10 of. Dang, right? That is good. Okay. For Natalie, I put Natalie's Joyride, number 1. Okay, so the first time we see her, she's like, I'm so sorry, Leland, I'm so sorry, And he's like, oh, any mother would do, or any parent would do the same thing. And he's like, it's just a mirror, it's just a mirror. And Randy's like, yeah, it's just a mirror. I mean, I never even use mine.
Just the entire thing was entertaining. Like, I was so intrigued at the beginning by the Julie Tieger killer. And, like, yes. The way she's like, 2 Julie Tiegers were killed and, like, runs to the scene. I was like, wait, what's happening? And it was just fun. It was intriguing.
Oh, for sure. That's what I put. I put, what a great mystery.
Mm-hmm.
I love the suspense. I love the suspense of actually not knowing what's going on with these 3 Julies. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a great idea to not tell us who the killer was. Whereas so many of the episodes, even when we talked to High Conrad, right? He was like, for the most part, we don't like whodunits. We think they're really boring and we don't like to, like, oh, well, it has to be this person, this person. This was a very good episode to not know who the killer was because we're so invested in the person, and all of the cast is so invested in getting this guy because it's protecting our Julie Teeger.
Yeah.
So I think this was a perfect storyline to not tell us who the killer was.
Yeah.
Instead of it coming out of left field.
Yes, exactly. Like the way that they showed him at the very beginning, and you're like,
this
he was an afterthought, but at the end you're like, oh, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Those are the best moments.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the guy needs to look up every Julie Teeger, and he's like, wait, when do you want it? And Stottlemeyer's like, how about now? And he's like, how about tonight? And he's like, how about you get to work?
Yes. Okay, I put it under dislikes because I put it under punk detective.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, check this and check this. And also check that. He's right. Check that, too. It's like, when do you need this by? I'm like, oh, my gosh, that guy. How about tonight? It's like,
yeah.
How about you get busy, boy? Exactly. And I liked how Stottlemeyer, because I think Stottlemeyer had that moment a few weeks ago whenever he says to Randy, excuse me, about, did you just say this is not my case? But I liked how this time it was directed toward, another detective who was being a punk, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I put Natalie Joyride number 2. I decided to take a shortcut across the creek.
Oh, yeah. There is no shortcut across the creek.
No, does it say bridge or shortcut? Because I wrote bridge, but I thought she said shortcut. But yeah.
She said shortcut, yeah.
Shortcut, yeah. There's no bridge. There's no shortcut across the creek. Natalie, there's no shortcut across the creek.
So, Natalie and Stottlemeyer and all the gang are going to get Julie because they don't know if she's safe or not. So they know that she's at her driver's test, and Julie's driving in the car, and he's like, use your blinker. She's like, oh, it's fine. He's like, use your blinker. And she's turning over, and she's like, no one's even on the road. And all of a sudden 3 cop cars pull up, and she's like, I was using my blinker, I swear.
It was just a blinker. And her mom yanks her out of the car. That's so golly. I definitely put that. I put poor Julie. It was just a blinker. I like how Stottlemeyer wants to hear the idea that will make him less pissed off. So Randy has 2 theories. I already got 2 theories. Which one do you want to hear? How about the one that makes me less pissed off? And then Randy's like, okay. And then his other one was about the Terminator, something totally weird. And so, yeah, it was a good Terminator impression by Stottlemeyer, but yes, that was very funny.
So they're in the house, and the grandma is sitting on the rocking chair, and Monk has to go up, and like they're all looking for her, and so he knows that she's right there, so he's talking to her, and she isn't responding, and he's like, okay, please be alive, please be alive, please be alive. And then he slightly pushes her to the front, and her eye falls out, and he goes, please be dead, please be dead, please be dead. It's so funny. I was not expecting that, let me tell you.
Okay, yeah, I want to know what you thought about that, because I knew what was coming, and yeah, so.
I was terrified.
Yeah, I'm so scary.
Because I rewatched it, like, this morning, because I was like, oh, I'm bored, and I just woke up, and so I rewatched it, and I still forgot about it, and it was like, oh my gosh, I got double jump scared 2 days in a row.
Like when they show her decrepit face?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
He's like, it better not want to be one of those, like, dead grandmas, and I was like, what? And then it was just a dead grandma, and I was like, ew.
Oh, yeah, which is so funny, because Monk never really goes there. It, the TV show, like, it never really goes to that.
But it was like,
to, like, show that or to be that creepy or anything. Uh-huh. But yeah, I like that whole scene with Monk, and he creaks the door open, and he sees the lady rocking in this chair, and he's like, don't be afraid.
he's talking to himself.
It was so good, and he just keeps creeping up on her, and then he takes her brush. And he's gonna poke her with it. You're like, what are you doing? Again, Monk poking dead people. Oh love gosh. It. It was so good. And that whole scene was so suspenseful. I'll talk about it a little bit more in my dislikes, but that was an excellent scene. Let's talk about how, we talked about the dead Juliet Tieger. Mm-hmm. What about Randy as Juliet Tieger?
Oh, it was so funny.
Itchy bra and all. That was so good. He's like, what are you doing? Bra itches. I don't know how they do this all day. It's so good. So Randy's like, wait a second. what if this guy has a knife? And they're like, well, let's come up with like a safe word, so that we know when to come help you. And he's like, how about, for the love of God, he has a knife? Solomar's like, no, it has to be something like casual that you can like bring into conversation. And Monk is like, I got it. I wish there were 10 of them.
Oh, yes.
And Solomar's like, well, I mean, it has to be something natural that you can't really work that into a conversation. And Randy's like, yeah, I could do that. I've heard that worked into a conversation before. Something stupid. Solomar's like, he's like, no, the phrase is better late than never. And Randy's like, okay, got it. And he's like, all right, what is it? Better late than never. He's like, yeah, I got it. And then, of course, you have the whole scene where this deranged guy thinks he's talking to his mother, and you're like, what is happening? And then he sits on Randy's lap, and he's like, no, please, I have a call.
He goes, I need some sugar. And Randy goes, there's some in the kitchen.
Oh, there's some in the kitchen. No, Mama, I need some sugar. Please give me some sugar. It's like, oh no, I have a call. Oh no. And he's like, first come, first serve. I wish there were 10 of them. And they're like, that's good enough for me. So good. Oh my gosh, that is so freaking funny. Oh my gosh. Again, so creepy, right? Because the first time the lady is dead. The second time Randy is supposed to be a dead lady. And you're banking on the fact that I didn't know he was going to talk. Like, I didn't know Randy was going to talk.
Yeah.
I'm like, you gotta...
Because she usually doesn't talk.
Exactly. Yeah. She doesn't talk to him.
And so he's like...
That's why he's like, there's no way he's going to buy this. And I'm like, well, I think he could buy that. You're like, if he doesn't maybe look at you in the face or your back is to him, but then he starts like talking and I'm like, oh my, that just makes it more scary. Or like Randy's going to say totally something or do something that the guy's going to be like, wait, you're not my mom. And you're like, no, duh, dude, she's dead. Yeah. I'm talking. I don't know. I felt like that added to the suspense, like maybe not the plausibility of it, but definitely to the suspense. I really liked it. So
Julie says, I'm a prisoner of my own house. And I was like, wow, Julie. I feel ya.
Okay, I've put that in dislikes.
What?
Yeah. Well, TBH, I have a lot of Julie action coming up in dislikes. So.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you could speculate what it's about, but I'll continue on with my likes. So Dr. Kroger is on the job. I liked this.
Oh, I know what you're talking about on the Julie Teeger. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I just came to the realization.
Okay, so, but Dr. Kroger, he's on call after Adrian sees dead people.
Yeah.
In his pajamas. Mm. And then Adrian actually brings him that file where he's like, hey, could you please look at this? The police would love if you looked at this man's case. And he's like, well, Adrian, I have never met this man. I can only make an educated guess or whatever. And he actually helps them set up this sting.
Yeah. With Randy.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
That was cool.
And then he also is so proud of Adrian for never digging up Trudy and stuffing her.
Oh, yeah. Which made me wonder. I was like, gosh, that means... Because I look at the dead grandma and I was like... And then they brought up Trudy and I was like, wait. That's what Trudy looks like. Ew.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not... Moving on to...
Wait, are you done?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I have one more. So, right after she goes, Julie just passed her driver's test, which means, and she was sad because that means she has to buy Julie a used car. And Monk's like, it's not that bad. One question, though. Natalie, how will this impact my sitting in the front seat?
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. That's a cute, crazy moment that I don't think I wrote down. The car chase at the end. Whenever the guy...
I was like banging on the windows.
Like, yeah, and he's chasing her down and she's like... So like, you already had like a jump scare, a Randy scare. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, just to add to even more suspense, Julie sees this guy who she knows had to have escaped from jail and is like chasing her down and looked at her in the headquarters and was like, are you Julie Tieger? And she's like...
Didn't he say something like weird?
You better be careful or you're in danger or something creepy because it makes her go, oh my gosh, he is totally the guy, Mr. Monk. Like, come on. And he's in jail. He can't do anything now. Oh, yeah, Julie. He's going to chase you down to your driver's test. So yeah, I really loved the suspense of that. I thought that was crazy. I also really liked how Monk and everybody else, but I feel like Monk in particular was actually a little bit flustered by this case. Because Stottlemyre, they're looking... This is the scene with the punk detective. Mm-hmm. And Monk is like, okay, wait, maybe, it's like a hitman who was hired to kill a Juliet Teeger, but doesn't know what she looks like. Yeah. And Stottlemyre's like, no, that doesn't track because the MOs are totally different. That doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. Which, like, we hear Monk say that, but he just... You can tell it's his emotional level is different than just like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
He's like invested.
Yeah. He cares. Because then also Stottlemyre is very like, yes, check this, check that. Like everyone is so pressed.
Yeah.
Like their anxiety level is at a high. Obviously Natalie.
It's higher stakes because it's someone they care about.
Exactly.
It's better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. My last thing is actually the scene between Natalie and Randy where they're bonding over ice cream. Randy gets the pint out of her freezer, and they're bonding.
And he's dripping it on his tie.
Okay, so I put they're bonding over ice cream until they're not. Right? They're real close, and they're both either eating out of different spoons, whatever, out of the same container. And she says, "Randy, can I ask you a favor?" And he said, "The answer is yes." She says, "I need a gun." The answer is no. And she's like, "Randy, please. I can't." He's like, "No, you just file for a permit." She's like, "I need a gun right now because I want to feel safe in my home." And he's like, "Well, Natalie, I'm right here." And he puts the ice cream in his mouth. And he's like, "Nothing bad can happen." It's just dripping all down his tie. And then he's like, "Oh." And then starts licking his tie. Oh my gosh. That scene is so cute. I watched it twice. It was so adorable. I loved that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's it.
That's it? Okay, so Kandyce, what did you like?
Okay.
As in dislike, in case anyone was confused.
All right, so I've got Julie doesn't seem to take her test too seriously. She runs a stop sign. I'm almost certain if you run a stop sign, that's like
the worst thing.
Yeah, that's like the absolute worst. I mean, it's an automatic fail. So I guess I was confused as to which of these times that she's in the car is her driving test and which part is her practicing for her driving test.
Yeah. Because
she runs a stop sign and then he's like, there was a stop sign. I thought I saw one there. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I didn't see." He's like, "Oh, they must have hidden it really well on top of that post." And I was like, no, I'm not going to write down that I dislike the driving guy because she doesn't really seem to be taking this very seriously. And then later, which I know that her situation is, maybe her life is at stake. So she's got her mom like on call on her phone, but her phone rings during her actual test.
Yeah.
Dude, that's also like an automatic disqualification. Like if your phone rings, okay, but you can't pull it out while you're driving and go, "Okay, I'm turning it off." Jeez.
She was, that's what I was about to say. Didn't she say something like sassy? She said, "Yeah, can I take it?" or something like that. And then he was like, "No."
Fine, I'm putting it up. And you're like, yeah, that's, again, automatic fail. I don't know. I mean, obviously her running over every single cardboard cutout also would probably fail her. And then her running over the hump. Yeah. Where she can't back out. I was like, okay.
But I thought they were going to do something cool where they were like, they would be like, oh, she's like not even trying. But then she like does like good. Because remember, he was like, oh my gosh, you did that special turn thing or whatever.
She's like, oh, is that a 3-point turn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought he'd be like, oh my gosh, did you just parallel park or something like that? But that was the only comment that they made on that.
Well, and you can't 3-point turn and also hit everything. Just because you can turn the car that way doesn't mean you're doing it right. So yeah, no. Not only was she a terrible driver, she also wasn't taking it seriously. So I put that as a dislike.
Yeah. I don't know when I wrote this, but it says Monk was so normal. Like, but it was just, I don't know. He was too normal, but just a little weird. So like if anyone was watching it, I feel like they would have been like, what's wrong with this guy? Not like, this is his character. This is what he, like, this is who he is. Mm-hmm. It was just like, he's like everyone else, except he is like the tiniest of like things. Because he's like scared of the dead body, and you're like also scared of the dead body.
That's a good point. This episode was it was so not heavily centered on Monk.
Yeah.
That it was just very, like, intermittent, like, who is this guy? Like, you'd have to already know who Monk was to be like, oh, that's Monk.
It's definitely not, like, super classic. Like, you couldn't be like, here's the first one you should watch, and then watch another one, and then being like, why was he super weird in this episode?
Yeah. Or not the star of this episode. Yeah. Like, I thought this was called Monk.
Yeah.
Like, not Julie.
Yeah.
Julietown.
For real.
That's a good point. I like that. Okay, more Julie stuff. So she doesn't care about what her mom says, and she's going to take that test with or without her permission. Yeah, and then she comes downstairs, and Stottlemeyer's like, they got another Julie Teeger or something, and she says, like...
Oh, no, he says, we checked all of California. You're the only Julie Teeger left.
You're the only one, and then she says, you mean I'm the only one left?
Yeah.
And so then she cares.
I know, right?
And you're like, I'm going to take this with or without your permission. Oh, wait a second. I could die? I'm like, yeah, that's what I told you 5 minutes ago. Literally 5 minutes ago.
Oh, wait, I can't die.
And then also, I watched this with Toby, and he added, yeah, Julie wouldn't last 2 seconds in COVID.
I know, right?
Because you said already, I'm like a prisoner in my house. It's like, yeah, you've been there for like an hour. Try 6 months. Come on. So yeah, I liked that apt observation from Toby.
Another one of my dislikes was that skeleton lady was so creepy.
Yeah.
They had no business making her that. They could have been like, oh, she's dead, and not shown her face. Like the eyeball, that could have been it. Like that seems like a Monk thing to do. Yes. Just the eyeball.
Yes.
But then they were like, her face right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know.
I was like, maybe I should pause it so that way I could get the time thing, the timestamp.
Yeah, so you can just pause it right on there.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I should pause it so I can get the timestamp for this. And I was like, actually, it's best if they don't see this part.
Okay, so I put, along with the creepy stuff, I actually put this in my dislikes, even though I specifically said I didn't mind the creepy vibes. But I remember the first time, I was freaking scared.
That was scary. Yeah.
I remember being like, why are they doing this? What is happening? I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this.
Yeah.
But rewatching it, it's like it gives me the same vibes as the really dead guy. There's something creepy about that episode too. But when
the way that it's super gory. Was really dead guy?
What is that? Because that's the one where there's a serial killer,
yeah, and he
right?
Kills him 6 ways.
He kills him 6 ways. Yeah, and then there's just other stuff. Oh, they mentioned like 666 is the mark of the beast, and it just has like this creepy like vibe over the whole episode. Whereas I feel like these moments are contained creepiness. I don't know if that makes any sense, but because I still, when I rewatch the really dead guy, I still get those same like creepy vibes. Whereas this one, I really like the creepy and suspenseful vibes of it. I don't know why, but maybe it's just a better episode in my opinion. So I'm a little skewed on that, but yeah.
Since we are talking about spookiness, why didn't they make this into a Halloween episode? Is there a Halloween episode this season?
There's only one, remember?
No.
There's only one ever.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Conrad said there was like 3. I'm stupid. Okay.
No. He said there was like 3 with Ambrose.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah. And then, we've already seen 2
yeah.
of them, so.
Wait. Okay, yeah.
oh gosh.
I thought we should
I honestly didn't mean to say that.
No, that's good.
No,
that makes me happy.
No, but it shouldn't, though, because I think he was mistaken. Yeah. Because when he said that, I was like, I think there's only 2. Uh-huh. I honestly don't think there's a third one.
Imagine
there's not
episode.
Maybe he might show up in like a second or something, but not. Or like there's not an Ambrose-centric episode anymore.
They mentioned him so much for him being in only 2 episodes.
Yeah. But like he said, he's famous. I mean, he was hard to get a hold of, so gotta respect that.
But okay, yeah, so anyways, while we're on the topic of Halloween episodes, they totally could have made this a Halloween episode and gotten away with it.
Oh yeah, it was totally crazy.
And been like, it's Halloween night and this happened. But I mean, we just had a Christmas episode, so.
Because it's Christmas then Halloween, that doesn't make any sense.
But they film all of these out of order.
So I think this episode will actually air 2 days after Halloween.
2 days after?
Yeah.
So we still have spooky vibes. Actually, Yeah, that'll still be spooky vibes.
Yeah, spooky vibes. Ooh. Caught that bug. That was great.
Candace just caught a dead bug right when she said spooky vibes.
Okay. My last thing, I think, actually is another Julie thing. No way that you make the captain sit in the back seat with your friends.
No.
That was so rude.
She would no. The joke was that she gets out as if she was gonna let him in, but then she opens the door, the seat, and like makes him get in the back.
Stalmar's like, all right.
She's like, this is Linda and this is Kimberly, and he's like, hello, Linda and Kimberly.
So funny. Yeah. But I love that scene. Yeah. That was so adorable. But I just had to put it in the dislikes because I was like, Julie, so rude. Did your mother never teach you anything? Which to me shows Monk's sitting in the front seat is going to be severely affected. Yeah. Like, oh my god. No, Mr. Monk, get in the back. We're not going. If you want to see Dr. Kroger today, you will get in the back seat.
So, I was very, very scared. Whenever Julie wasn't picking up her phone, I was like, I was typing furiously on my phone, like, if Julie dies, I swear I will never watch the show again, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing.
I was so freaked out, Candace.
That is amazing. I love that.
Gosh, yeah, because she was like, Julie, come on, pick up. And I was like...
Okay, so what about the first time they said Julie Tieger was the victim? What was going through your head? You know what I mean? The first time she takes the car. What's the victim's name? Julie Tieger? Because at that point, she wasn't calling her.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Julie. I was just like, it's going to be something dumb. And then another Julie Tieger was found, and I was like, wait, what? And then things started, and I was like, what?
Okay. Fair enough. I like that.
And then even after that, it was worse, because then you knew that someone was going after Julie Tieger's.
Oh, exactly, yeah. So then you knew
going after Julie.
Yeah, the threat was actually real, because you're like, oh my gosh, at least she is next on the list. Yeah. Oh man, I love that mystery. That was so good.
Because isn't that like a real thing that like people have the same name so they get their packages mixed up? Or something like that?
Okay, that's possibly a plot hole. Okay, I would say that would probably only happen if because your mailman's supposed to be looking at your address, not at your name. Yeah,
but they said that the name was, the address was messed up, but the mailman knew who Julie Tieger was.
But then they also said that Julie Tieger, they often got their mail switched up, that it was a common thing. And I was like, you wouldn't... I get other people's mail because their address looks like mine. Like the numbers are really close, but I've never gotten a package that had my last name but not my first name, or my first name but not my last name or something. That's never happened. But I get what you're saying, because I think they explained it well by saying, well, it's because the package was messed up a little bit. Yeah. So you couldn't see the address, which means that the mailman knew who Julie Tieger was, that where one of the Julie Tiegers lived, right? She's like, oh, this says Julie Tieger. Oh, it must be Julie Tieger right here. That means the mailman's looking at your name and not your address. Yeah. So why would the mailman just be handing out, especially if he keeps making the mistake? Look at the address. Don't read people's names. Yeah. That's not how you give out mail.
Wait, so...
Unless you're a postman and that is how you give... Feel free to correct us, but to me, memorizing every person's name that you deliver sounds crazy to me.
That's true, yeah.
In a good way.
So, that is all I have.
Okay.
He's the guy. Okay, Candace.
Did you have any He's the Guys?
I do not.
Okay, I don't either. I didn't recognize anybody in this episode.
Twins, yeah, finally.
No. Okay, so I wanted to make a little shout out to all the psychos out there.
Yeah,
I have started watching Psych. Okay.
Oh, I thought you meant okay, never mind.
like the crazy people out there.
Yeah. To all my psychos out there. I thought you were gonna talk because there's psychos in this episode.
Noah was like, "Yeah, woo, that's me." I thought you were saying "yay" because you watch Psych. Okay, so Noah, what would you like to say to all the psychos? Like, what did you think I was gonna say?
I don't know. Well, there were psychos in the episode, Candace, so I thought maybe you were gonna be like, guys, so here's a question from our actual psycho on Instagram. Like,
It's a question from an actual psycho.
he comes from inside the insane asylum.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That was a good tangent. All right. So shout out to the psychos who watched the television show Psych. Okay. I started watching Psych. I'm on season 3 now. I just started season 3, but I've already seen several people who have been on Monk, right? Because we know USA Network.
Yeah.
You know, they get a lot of the same actors. I don't know how exactly that works, but they do. And I'm sure that as I go through the series, I'm going to re-mention people because I've already mentioned some of these people like, oh, they were on an episode of Psych, blah, blah, blah. But now it's actually personal because I've actually seen them instead of just saying, oh, they're on an episode of Psych, right?
Yeah.
So I have Tim Curry, who played Nigel St. Nigel in the episode called American Duos, right? Where they're doing like the American Idol. And he's supposed to be like Simon Cowell. And we know that Tim Curry on Monk is Dale the Whale.
Yes.
One of the Dale the Whales. I have Philip Baker Hall as Irving Packer in the episode Dislodged, which is the episode where they're in the secret society and Lassiter wants to get into the secret society. And this Philip Baker Hall guy, he's the leader, I think. Somebody jumps over him to get the spot and ends up dying or something like that. But in Monk, he's the mobster in the Godfather episode. Mr. Monk Meets the Godfather, where he threatens to cut Monk's hand off, basically. And you haven't seen that one, have you? Yeah. That's a good one.
Well, I want to watch it.
And so he's in that one. Then we have Todd Stashwick as Frank Jim Ogletree. That's a mouthful. He's in the episode Ghosts. And in Monk, he was Gene Edelson in Mr. Monk in the Blackout. So for all you people who know what I'm talking about, because Noah hasn't seen that one either. And the last person is Steve Weber, right? Who we know, who you do know, because he's Max Hudson on Mr. Monk is on Air.
Oh yeah, he is.
Right? Okay. So you know him. And I've already talked about him before, I remember, because I saw, he's on an episode of Monk. His name's Jack Spencer. Well, I thought he was going to be Sean's brother, but he wasn't Sean's brother. He was Sean's uncle. He's the dad's brother. So, and that's the episode I'm actually in the middle of watching right now. I paused it and I watched the first few minutes of it where he's like, his uncle's like a treasure hunter or something like that, I think. And yeah, so he's actually Sean's uncle, not his brother. But now I know. I'm educated, and I'm getting more educated as I go through. And yeah, so I'm enjoying Psych so far. And any psychos out there, show us some love if you love Monk and Psych.
Yep. Junk time. Kandyce, I'm excited for this junk time. I don't know why.
Well, I did promise you a little bit of snack.
You did.
Okay. I think I'm going to start off with the fan shout out, actually.
Oh, okay, good.
Because we were just talking about Psych. And this fan shout out, just give you a little piece of it in case you don't like it.
Okay.
This fan shout out is actually from a Psych account called Sean Gus Psych. So if anybody wants to follow some Psych content out there, make sure that you check out Sean Gus Psych. But they reached out to us a few weeks ago and were just asking how they could listen to the pod. And so I directed them to it, and they've been binge listening to it. And then they shouted us out on their account and was like, Junk Monk Podcast, go check this out. If you like Monk too, I've listened to like 10 episodes in 2 days. I love it. It's so good. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. And as I said before, a lot of Monk fans, a lot of Monkers out there are psychos. One and the same, it's, sometimes. So like I said, if you like both shows, check them out, check us out. We're all in the USA little family here. So
a shout out for a shout out, an eye for an eye.
Yeah.
Oge for oge.
All right. So what did you think about Aunt Leslie's Nut Crunch?
It's interesting. I didn't like it at first because I don't like super dark chocolate. But then once it settled in my mouth, let me tell you, Kandyce.
It's really good. I think it's really good. I've said multiple times my favorite is like the white trash.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, the Chex Mix covered in powdered sugar.
Yes.
But this is like, I was telling people it's like peanut brittle covered in chocolate and then covered in nuts.
I've only recently had peanut brittle, which I'm pretty sure we had on the show.
Yeah.
That's why I tasted it for the first time. But I don't remember what it tasted like, so I don't know. It's like a Twix bar.
Kind of melts.
But
it's way better than Twix, but...
Yeah, no, it's like a Twix bar version of peanut brittle. Boom. I'm big brained.
It's very, very good. Ingredients are semi-sweet chocolate chips, sugar, butter, pecans, almonds, walnuts, water, salt, and baking soda. That's it. Now that we've done things completely out of order, let's get to our questions. How many Julies do we know?
Jeez. I know one girl named Julia. Not even Julie. I mean, I guess that counts, but one girl. Forgot her last name.
Okay. When you just said that, it reminded me, I do know somebody named Juliet.
Oh, I know Juliet.
Oh, I know Juliet. Also, there's a Juliet in Psych. I mean, I don't know her, and she's a character.
Oh.
But another Psych callback. No, I do have an Aunt Julie, which I've never said the word aunt in my whole life, but I have an Aunt Julie. Aunt? Well, Julie says it in the episode, because that's where she got her name from.
Oh, her Aunt Julie.
Her Aunt Julie,
From Mitch's side.
Mm-hmm. She was a fearless woman, and she pilgrimed or something like that. I forgot what she said. I was like,
you both
hey,
have an Aunt Julie. That's cool.
Yeah. I totally have an Aunt Julie. I think that's the only person that I know whose name is Julie. I'm sure there's somebody I've met, like, had correspondence with. I'm trying to think, like, have I ever typed an email that said, "Hi, Julie"? I don't think so.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Kandyce, you just said you've never said the word aunt, like, instead of aunt.
Mm-hmm.
But, here's the thing. We can test you on that. Because maybe you weren't thinking about it and you said aunt whenever you're talking about Aunt Leslie's Nut Crunch. Because that's what we're eating right now.
Oh my gosh, another aunt.
Yeah, right?
No, I don't think so. Aunt Leslie. I don't think I said Aunt Leslie. I've never said the word aunt.
You said Aunt Leslie.
Yeah.
No, but you read that and you go aunt. Like, especially when it's someone's like...
Yeah, but I don't say the word aunt, so I wouldn't read it that way. I would say aunt.
Okay, well, I mean, we can look back at the tapes. I'm just saying, Kandyce.
All right. Go back and look at the tape. Come back. Hey, I said aunt. Okay.
Really? No. We'll see.
Okay. You can really check the tape if you want. But I genuinely, aunt is not a natural thing for me to say. I just like saying it in this aunt. I have an aunt. Do you have an aunt? So yeah, Julie, not a very popular name. Which makes, well, I say it makes sense. But he was specifically looking for Julie Teegers. Do you know anyone whose last name is Tieger?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, there's only 3 people, and I was like, wait a minute. 3 people make sense.
Yeah, Julie Tieger. And it makes sense that there's no more Julie Teegers. I wonder if we can find a Julie Tieger.
Can I see you have Facebook?
Okay, let's... Julie
I don't have Facebook because I'm not a
Tieger.
boomer. Ooh.
Oh, Julie...
Teeger.
Or Teeger.
Oh, Teeger.
Oh, Julie Tieger.
Oh my gosh. Should we just say where she lives?
Right.
She lives in Washington, D.C.
Another Julie Tieger. So there's 2. Oh, there's a Julie Tieger in middle school?
Yeah,
Julie
what?
Tieger. Oh, that's Tedder. Okay.
That one's a Julie with
Julie
no E.
Teeter. Julie Teemer. Julie Tenner.
Tener.
Julie Tepper. Julie Tedder. Julie Teagarden.
What?
Julie Tesnier.
Julie Traeger and Julie Traeger.
What?
Oh my god.
There are a few Julie Teeters. Okay, let's get to my second question. Are you ready to drive?
No. Let me tell you, Kandyce. The other day, a bunch of kids in my class were like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to drive. And I was like, no. You're going to be excited for 2 years, and then you get your permit, and then, or your license or whatever, and then for a month, you'll be excited. And then after that, you're going to be like, your mom's going to be like, okay, go get groceries for me. And you're like, okay. And it's just going to be a normal thing because you've been doing it too long. And what? You think your parents are going to, now they're like, oh yeah, it's so much fun driving. I have so much. No. You're going to get bored of it really quickly. So that's why I'm not excited. I'm not ready, and I don't want to do it.
So you're not scared to drive? Well,
yeah, I am.
I was scared to drive. I basically had the same kind of thing. Not that, like, oh, I'll get bored of driving, but, like, I was just never in the mindset of, like, let me grow up faster than I already am. It's funny because I feel like there's kids who have, like, driven before they actually are supposed to drive.
Oh, yeah,
so they're
I've
more...
definitely never done that before. Never in my life. If there's any cops listening.
See, and I never did that. So tons of, like, my peers were, like, had already been driving since they were really young.
Yeah.
Because they've driven tractors or they've driven, like, their pickup truck, you know, to the gas station and back because there's no cars out there. I mean, like, all kinds of, you know, stories like that. And my mom kind of, I feel like, I don't know, somehow assumed that I had driven a car by the time she was teaching me. And I'm like, well, Mom, how would I have driven a car? Because she's like, well, it's just easy. You do this and this. Explains to me like it's no big deal. And so I'm driving her pickup truck. And she used to go to the flea markets. So she had jewelry, like stacks and stacks of jewelry, all in the back of the truck, all in the back seat of the truck. And so we're driving just on my street where I lived on. And I'm like, all right, so just, you know, like the gas on the right, brakes on the left, drive one-footed, you know, back and forth. I was like, okay, all right. And I'm terrified. Like, all right, okay, I got this. And she's like, it's super easy. Just put it on that. And then I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I push on the gas. Of course, I have no clue how much to push it. So I push it and the car goes, vroom, and goes forward. And then I get scared. Oh, no. Well, the car goes forward quickly, and then so I get scared and push on the brakes quickly, and because again, and I go, and all the watches go flying all everywhere. I was like, and my mom was so pissed.
Oh,
and that was my very first driving experience, and she's like, all right, that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to drive. Like, I will do this later.
Yeah.
When all my stuff's not in the car.
Yeah, for me, like 4 months ago, we were going home from, like, church or something. I don't remember.
You felt like God was on your side.
Yeah.
You were willing to risk it for
my
the biscuit.
My dad was like, go ahead. And I was like, okay. And, you know, they always are like, okay, don't, you know, push on the gas super hard because, you know, it's always gentle. And you barely ever, you know, go hard on the gas or whatever. But I didn't know about the brakes. So I was like going gentle whenever, and I was doing good. And then I was like, okay, I'll just slow down a little, and I like step on the brakes, and then we weren't even going fast, and everything just forward. And I was like, gosh, what?
Isn't it crazy? The consistency of the gas pedal is so much different than the brake.
Yeah.
You have to literally learn the difference of how each of them feels, and the brake is closer to you.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I have to push this hard for the gas. Then you come back to the brake. If you push the same amount of hard, you're going to slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
And it's not really slamming. But the parents don't say that. They're just like...
Yeah, because that phrase, slamming on the brakes, you're like, yo, I
think they're slamming on the brakes.
That means you have to slam it. And going gentle is going to be gentle. But nope.
Yep.
Gosh, it is...
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes my dad will be like, let's go drive in Lowe's parking lot at 3 a.m. We're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're just bored. We're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then me and my brother take turns, and it's fine. We have fun.
Yeah. So you'll probably be ready whenever the time comes, though.
Yeah.
You'll be technically ready.
I'm not excited, but I'll be ready.
Yeah, I'll be ready.
I say that, and then I'm going to fail my driver's test.
Oops, I accidentally failed. Mother chauffeur me. All right. That's the end of junk time. Plot holes.
Okay, I'm excited for this one, finally.
I feel like we talked about a few plot holes already.
Yes.
To be honest. But, okay, the first one I feel like this is super easy. The captain gives Monk the keys to the car when he walks into the building. Why would he do that?
Why would he?
Like, Randy gives Natalie the radio, right? Oh, yeah. Like, hey, we're going to be inside when it's clear for you guys and safe for you guys. We'll page you, come in. Okay, that makes sense. Natalie, here's a radio. Stottlemeyer's prized possession that he just got, he's been waiting for years. Mm-hmm. He's going to hand anyone else on the planet the keys to that car. No, you wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. You also, like, I guess you could argue, like, well, Monk doesn't drive, so it's not like he's going to take the car. But then, why leave the car keys to someone who can't drive a car? Like, put the keys in your pocket.
Yeah, why leave the car keys in general?
Have you ever given your keys to Monk? No. But now you got a brand new car and you're going to give your keys away. Mm-hmm. It's not a huge plot hole, but that's just super easy. Why would you do that?
It makes no sense. Like, the fact that, first of all, he gave it to Monk. The worst person you could give it to. Second of all, the fact that Monk can't even drive. And third of all, the fact that he didn't even have to give it to anyone in general. But he did.
Yep. Exactly.
Good plot hole. So, with the guy, the creepy guy whose mom is dead, would the guy even get time? Even though he didn't kill Julie, but he, stuffed his mom?
Okay, so for one, he also stole an officer's weapon.
Oh, he did that.
So that's bad. Isn't there a law about, improper
burial? You
can't mishandle a body after it's deceased.
Yeah.
And there's some type of law. I just don't remember the law. So long story short, yeah, I think so. But he's crazy, so I think he'd probably just go back to the loony bin because he's crazy.
Right?
He was moving her from room to room. Yeah. So she wasn't only in that chair. You're telling me that glass eyeball never fell out before?
For real. Yeah.
My next plot hole is Natalie lifts up the tarp and she runs in. Move out of the way. It's my daughter. It's my daughter. And they're like, ma'am, no. And then she gets there, lifts up the tarp, and she's like, oh, thank God it's not her. And we're like, wait. I watched this with Toby. So we're like, that doesn't track. And then when the husband comes, they're like, he's like, that's my wife. That's my wife. And they're like, sir, this is a crime scene. They're like, exactly. So how did Natalie get through to lift up the tarp? No. Plot hole.
Makes no sense.
Okay, my next one is on the second Julie Tieger, where they're on the radio and she's like, repeat the victim's name. The second time, he's like, no, there's got to be some mistake. We're at the crime scene and of Julie Tieger.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm looking right at her ID and it matches her picture. Or it matches her body. And then they're like, oh my God. And then they rush over there. Okay, if I was Natalie, yes, of course. Does
Julie Tieger have ID? Does your daughter have ID? What ID would she have on her? First of all.
Oh.
Her driver's license? No. That's what I thought.
Oh my gosh.
Drop the mic.
I just got put owned.
Okay,
on my own plot hole.
What were you going to say?
No, that she could have asked for the date of birth on the ID and she would have known it wasn't her daughter. But she doesn't have an ID. You're a genius.
She has no driver's license.
Dang.
Man, Natalie. A little bit of rational thinking. Gosh, I'm so smart.
Dang. Now I'm really hoping that they did actually say there was an ID.
I know, right?
But I wrote down, he said, there's an ID.
Couldn't they have been like, she got run over by a car and she was riding her bike?
What do you mean?
Why wouldn't they say, like, how she died? No? Just, this is Julie Tieger. She's dead.
Oh, yeah, no. No, I don't think they would have.
No.
Oh, they would have given the code.
Yeah.
But
they did the first time.
They did the first time, yeah.
Because she was like, what's a 246? And he was like, homicide. She's like, ah.
Yeah.
And she didn't say anything.
Yeah, that's when they give the code again, yeah.
And apparently it was a hit and run. So that means they would have been a code for it.
Yeah. More plot holes.
Oh my god.
Bam, where's your code? Where's your code? Plot hole. All right. My next one is Julie passes her test. Yeah, right. She sucks at driving. That was an easy one. Go, Noah.
Okay. What? Wait, okay. This was more of a question.
Okay.
Who was the mistress lady or whatever? Like, didn't she have something to do with the package? Like, she had the guy's stuff.
Yeah.
And she was mailing it to the wife.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't he kill the mistress?
Okay, that's what I said. Okay, when I was trying... Was it when I was writing the summation for it? I asked Toby. I was like, Toby, why did he kill his wife? And he was like, oh, I don't know. No, I said, why did he kill Julie number 2? And he said, well, because she had seen, like, the argument that the husband and wife had and that, you know, that he killed her.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why did he kill his wife? Oh, because she figured out about his mistress. I'm like, well, wouldn't you kill the mistress? Why would you kill your wife?
Yeah.
You kill the mistress when she's going to send crap to your wife.
Exactly.
You don't kill your wife when she opens the box.
Because then they go, okay, well, the mistress would be like, your wife's dead. Plus, the mistress didn't like him anymore. That's why she sent the stuff over.
Mm-hmm.
So she would be like freaked out, calling the cops, being like, he killed her, and ratting him out. Mm-hmm. So you should have killed the mistress. It's not like, okay, now we can finally be together because I killed my wife. It's like, no,
exactly.
we hate each other.
Mm-hmm. You're right. It's another plot hole right there.
Plot hole. Gosh.
Okay.
We're on fire today.
Okay, this one is not a question, maybe not even a plot hole, but I feel like anyone could have solved this case. Like the shipping label being at both places.
Yeah.
Like that was, I mean, it wasn't super obvious because, I mean, it's like a yellow package. But maybe my plot hole ties into why didn't they search Julie number 2's house until the end? Mm-hmm. They kind of sort of explained it by Monk having doubts, and he's like, but the first girl was stabbed with a steak knife. Why didn't he use a knife to kill her? Why did he run her down? Or something like that. It was something like that. Monk had doubts, but Randy says, he was crazy. He was certifiable. He's as crazy as you, Grant.
No, he said...
Hugh Grant.
He said... Hugh Grant.
And then he walks off and they never say anything else.
He said, why didn't he use his own knife? Because he was showing off his knife, and he was like,
yes.
Steak knife instead of his. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, maybe he didn't want it dirty. Mm-hmm. He's certifiable.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then he says Hugh Grant, and then he walks off, implying that nothing came of that. Mm-hmm. And then Stottlemyre says, where's Monk? And it cuts to Randy and Monk at Julie number 2's apartment.
Yeah.
I think the story... I will stick by my I love the mystery, but I think there's a lot of plot holes in this episode. So many.
Okay. Why would they send Randy? That does not make sense. That's my plot hole. Why would they send Randy to be the grandma? Why couldn't they send Natalie, a literal any women on the police force, to go there? They sent Randy. I get that it's for comic relief, and it was like funny that it was Randy of all people.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then leave him there with this person that they know is psychotic and crazy. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't make sense.
They had a female officer at the end, too.
Yeah.
That took Julie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Literally anyone would have been more convincing than him.
Yeah, a woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Could have been regular Julie Teeger herself.
Okay, good one. Now I'm going to tie that into mine. Where was the cop that took Julie to the driving test?
Shouldn't she have been there, yeah. I was like...
And he's like banging on Julie! Yeah. And like, where's this cop who said, I could take her? And you're like, who are you, for one? If you were going to pop up anywhere in this episode, you should have been the nanny, the old dead lady.
I was about to say Monk, or I was saying while I was watching it, Monk, you should tell her to go with her and like sit in the back seat or something. Because we know that it's just a suspect. Mm-hmm. And they were right, it was just a suspect. So why wouldn't she like stay with her since it was just a suspect? She was like, oh, that was basically a confession.
Yeah.
Like, no, it basically wasn't.
Yeah. Wow.
Gosh.
Golly. Okay. And then this kind of is directly related, and it's my very last thing I'll mention, is why didn't Natalie go with her to the driving test at the very end, right? Because Natalie says, if Mr. Monk says it's okay, you can go to your driver's test. Julie hounds Mr. Monk, is basically trying to get him to say he's the guy. He won't do it. And then she's like, look, I'm fine. I'll be safe. The police officer says, I'll take her, whatever. But Monk, before that, says, your mom can't just up and leave and take you. Mm-hmm. Why?
Why can't she?
What's she doing? The only thing Natalie said she was going to do was, oh my gosh, I'm going to call your grandparents. They must be worried sick.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That was too many plot holes. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Jeez.
How crazy was Monk this episode?
Plus crazy months.
All right. Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't have many crazy moments. See, I'm looking at your paper. You have a lot of crazy moments that
Actually, I feel like I don't have that many.
Are they just little things?
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like they are. I mean, not to give you a preview of my rating.
One of my crazy moments was that Monk was too normal.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, okay, out of 10 what?
Out of 10 study mobiles.
No. Did you just use that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, I have a question. Do you like when I tell you all the different things I came up with? Or,
yeah.
Or do you want me to just pick one?
No, I like when you pick one, but then tell me the others. You're runner-up.
Okay. So, I put out of 10 glass eyeballs.
Okay.
Okay. My other ones were out of 10 lucky rabbit's feet.
Ooh, that's good.
Okay. Out of 10 packages from the eBay.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what? I mean, yeah, I guess the internet was new. She was like, oh, yeah, she gets all those packages from the eBay.
And then I put out of 10 crazy Hugh Grants. Okay, so I did like the glass eyeballs, though.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
That's good.
all right.
I'll give it to you.
All right, so crazy moment. You already said yours, so I'll go through mine quickly. All right, he's buffing Leland's car with him, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, he's touching all the antlers in the house.
Yeah, I was going to write that one down.
It's going around. Okay, he has his emergency session with Dr. Kroger. Mm-hmm. Okay. He thinks Dr. Kroger's wife has Tourette syndrome.
Yeah. But she does. That's what he said.
No, but do you know what Tourette syndrome is?
Yeah.
It's where they like yell, right?
Ticks.
Right, but he was saying because she was yelling profanities, I think, on the phone. So he's like, does your wife have Tourette's? And he's like, yes, she does. He was just trying to be nice. Yeah. Okay, I wish there were 10 of them. Right? Because that's to say. I love that. I put, Monk has his own problems, if you recall. Because he says that, if you recall, I have my own problems. I don't have time to deal with you. He's super busy and he has all those yellow pencils. Mm-hmm. I have all these yellow pencils. He pushes the gun out of the way at the end. Yeah. And shoots the captain's car. I was like, what the? That could have.
I didn't even notice it hit the captain's car.
Yeah, because later it's like, tss, like the radiator or something is.
Oh no!
And he's like, of course. Yeah, but I just put that he was crazy for pushing the gun out of the way. I mean, obviously didn't want to shoot at someone that didn't do that crime, but it was just crazy that he pushed it out of the way. Because me and Toby were like, oh my gosh, what if he had shot somebody else or something? Yeah. I put this is the last thing, that he was scared of the underwear. He was like, oh wow, look at this giant handkerchief.
Oh yeah. He's like, that's underwear.
That's somebody's underwear. And he's like, God. and then they're clearing off the seat so the old man can sit down. And then Monk takes his own handkerchief and is like, wiping the sweat off his brow. And then he sits down in the old man's chair. He's like stressed from the underwear. And they're like, okay, I'll sit over here. So that was my last crazy moment.
Out of 10... Wait, what was mine thinking?
Stoddy mobiles.
Oh, yeah, out of 10 Stoddy mobiles, it was a 1 out of 10 for me.
No. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, out of 10 glass eyeballs, I gave him just the 1 glass eyeball rolling across the ground. Yep. Wait, Toby? Is that you?
Tobias? Hi, Tobias.
Oh, Tobias is trying to rush us.
Tobias. Let's just call him Tobias. I love Tobias. Okay.
It's hilarious. Okay, all right. Let's move on to our last segment so that we can make Tobias happy. Rate this episode.
Okay, Kandyce. Let's do this quickly.
Okay. Well, let's do our viewer's voice then.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. This is from Heidi Smith on our Munkers group. She says, I really like this episode. I would give it an 8 out of 10 just because the teenage whine is a little over the top and gets on my nerves. So she liked it, but I think she agreed with me. There was a lot of
Julie sass,
bratty Julie. Yep. I got you, Heidi. I got you. Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so great idea, great execution. It makes this a great episode. It's simple, yet it's fun. I put no plot holes, so I was wrong because as of writing that, I had no plot holes, but while we're talking, I came up with a lot.
Yeah.
So I had a 9 out of 10, but I'm going to go ahead and change that to an 8 out of 10.
Dang, really? Because of the plot holes? Okay,
Yes.
I do get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. And that should probably bump it down on my list, but it's not. It's not.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought this episode was great. I thought this was another standout episode for the supporting cast. And we already talked about that.
Yes,
but I thought Natalie shined. She was fantastic. Her worry for Julie was great. Stottlemyre and his car were hilarious. And then Randy playing the dead woman.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Tony Shalhoub didn't shine in this one, but his co-stars did. So I absolutely loved that.
And Julie.
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah. Our girl Emmy.
Yeah.
Our girl Emmy.
Our girl Emmy.
Yeah. Okay. I think that the plot was clever. I absolutely loved the suspense of the three Julies. I loved it. Another solid episode and fun. I went with a 10.9.
Well, we would have been matching.
We would have been, but yeah.
So now it's going to be like an 8.5 in the ratings, which I'm okay with.
Me too. And Heidi also gave it an 8. So, I mean, it's okay, I guess, similar.
Yeah.
You matched with Heidi, so. Which I think last time we did the rating scale, I matched with Billy from Twitter. So, makes sense. We're on the same page, guys. We're on the same page.
Here, give me a hug, everyone. There we go.
All right, guys. That is it. That was a great episode. We had a lot of fun. We do have to go quickly, however.
Tobias is calling for us.
We're going... we'll wait till he knocks on the door. We'll see. They're just going to leave.
I know. Okay, let's go.
We're going to homecoming. We're going to homecoming.
We're going to homecoming together.
like cotillion all over again. No, we're actually going to take pictures of other people who get to go to homecoming. So that's fun, I guess. Not
Toby,
really.
number 2, is going to homecoming. The Toby who got his driver's license.
Yeah.
Or who's getting his driver's license.
Yeah.
That Toby is going to homecoming.
Yeah. Yeah, Toby. Toby's going to homecoming, duh.
Toby.
Forgot about that.
There's Toby, and there's Tobias.
Oh, gosh.
We're adding so much Toby lore now.
I know. Toby's getting multiple personalities. I love it.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Adios. We'll see you guys next time.
Is yelling.
Tobias is yelling.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time for Mr. Monk and the...
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Junk Monk Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so please give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, follow us at Junk Monk Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
If you want to know more about Kandyce, she's at Hardens and Hardhats on Instagram. And if you want to know more about me, Noah L., subscribe to my vlog, Noah Hernandez, on YouTube. Also, you can leave us a voicemail at 323-366-0477 with your questions, comments, or just to show us some love.
Don't forget to catch up on Monk with Amazon Prime Video, and of course, subscribe to our show.
You'll thank me later.